and mute their mics when they are not speaking. Participants are not allowed to refer to any kind of materials, books, and papers during speaking. Timekeeper will be informing about the time left in the chat box. Rules regarding round 1 will be speech on the round of the topic. Each speaker will get 3 minutes to speak. Ma'am, shall we start calling out the names? Sorry, ma'am, you're not audible. Hello?
Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am, you're audible now.
Yeah, thank you so much, Aditi, for inviting me. And yeah, you can start the
We are
competition.
very delighted
Looking
to have you, ma'am, here. Yeah.
yeah.
So I would like to call up our first speaker, which is who is Nishtha Trivedi. Nishtha, you can switch on your video and switch on your mic. And I request all the participants to please switch on your videos. Nishtha, can you hear me? I guess Nishtha is facing any issues. So Ashish, can you start?
Can someone else speak the first?
Okay. I call up Ghanshyam Chandorkar to please start his speech. Uh, Ghanshyam, you're not audible. Yeah. Ghanshyam, you're muted.
Hello.
Yes, you're audible.
Now I'm audible.
Yes, you're audible, Ghanshyam.
Okay. Thanks for giving me opportunity to express my views. And as we know that today is the debate on US and Indo democracy.
Please, I
Regarding
don't think.
what is the meaning of democracy? This is
Ghanshyam, I guess your voice is breaking. Could you please?
Punjab, of your camera and will start.
let her rejoin, ma'am. Let her rejoin.
Yeah. I request Japan Pandya to please start his speech.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Am I
You're
audible?
yes, you are audible.
Yeah. So the debate about the US and India democracy. First, the difference between the India and US democracy is between the that India consists of Indian parliament, whereas US consists of US presidential system. These are the the main difference. Their parliament system, which is in India, it is an executive and is responsible for the legislature, whereas US, that is the presidential system, is executive but is not responsible for the legislative purpose. Then coming to India, India's executive means the the council of members as well as the prime minister, and we can also include in executive both the parliamentary houses, that is the Lok Sabha as well as the Rajya Sabha. Whereas in US presidential system, it is the president, means executive and legislative bodies, means uh, are in are under the two chambers of US Congress. Then thirdly, prime minister, that is in India, Indian parliamentary system, it is a prime minister who is responsible to the assembly of members of parliament and can be questioned. The member of parliaments can question the prime minister as well as the council of ministers regarding the policies and the governance in the government. Whereas in the US presidency system, it is the president is not responsible for the legislature act, and, and US Congress can't influence the president's decision in any matters. That is legislature or it is an executive one. Fourthly, it is in Indian parliamentary system, if one wants to eliminate the prime minister, then members of the parliament can cast a vote of non-confidence against prime minister to replace him. Whereas to eliminate the president, no can the member of US Congress cannot replace the president unless he commits a grave or unconstitutional mistake or takes decisions which is against the constitution. And the process of removing is known as impeachment of president, which was only done 2 times in the US presidential system. Then it comes to the then we come to the three major aspects where India and US both came uh, where both came to the different types of agreements, which are total three, that is LEMOA, COMCASA, and BECA. These three are the main responsible. These agreements are responsible for the Indian and US democracy, and due to these agreements, the relation of India and US become very powerful. LEMOA is the agreement in which one partner trusts the other enough to expose its valuable assets. So here the LEMOA is the agreement which was done in 2016 in the presidency of Barack Obama and Narendra Modi, that it was all about the trust that one can enter into another's military base and to wherever both can use another's military bases. Then COMCASA is the second agreement, which means one is confident that it can rely on the encrypted system to connect the two militaries, where the confidential conversations are being done. That is the COMCASA ones. And the BECA means it can share highly classified informations in real time without fear of being compromised. That is the geographical area and geographical intelligence, which comes due to the new things. And due to the Indo and US relationships, the China has a different angle in this, that the ADIM, the longest standoff in the China border, is from the 3 decades. Then India and US have intensified the radar, intelligence, and military cooperation at the unpredicted level since uh, since since June, and now with the defense of defense keys that impact in the place as well as the cooperation can happen in more and structured structured manner, and it is an efficient way to rather than to episodic it. Hello, am I audible?
Yes, Japan, you're audible.
Okay. And US expects something from the India. That is, the US wants India to move away from the Russian equipments and the platforms, as well as the US feels this may expose to its technology and information to Moscow. So, as far as India is going ahead to purchase the S-400 air defense missile system from Russia, and this has
Is the time
been
up?
Thanks, Japan. Next, I would like to call Ashwini Divedi.
May I start?
Yes, Ashwini, you can.
Am I audible?
Yes, you are audible.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
Yeah.
Good afternoon, Garima ma'am. Thank you for judging this event. Actually, ma'am, the topic of the debate was present scenario of Indo-US democracy. So it basically we have to look at the international affairs as to how these two democracies have worked throughout the years and how the geopolitical scenario stands now. So over the past 3 decades, whenever we talk about Indo-US democracy, we will see a quotation that it is a relation between the world's largest democracy and it is the relation between world's oldest democracy. And to the context of US policymakers, this contention is most forwarded by them only. Like in the Obama's administration, we saw that. In Reagan's administration, we saw that. And in more recently, the Trump's administration, we saw that this quotation was not refrained by anyone. But now, if we look into the present context or the present scenario of as to how both these democracies are working in the United States context, if we look at the Trump's administration, we can see that they are moving towards less democratic measures. So I maintain the contention that both India and United States of America are declining in the democratic instinct as that was before. And I maintain this contention because in the United States of America, we saw that Trump's administration's national security policy is more towards going to North Korea, China, or Russia, which is a striking contrast as to the city on a hill pronouncement which was made by Ronald Reagan, or we saw that Obama's administration that they were more centric towards democratic measures. Thus, Trump's decline in inclination towards North Korea, which is a dictatorship, totally a dictatorship, and towards its friendship towards Russia is a striking counterbalance towards the democratic instinct that was United States of America before. Now, if we look at Indian scenario, we can. Sorry, ma'am, there is some disturbance. If we look at the Indian scenario, we will see that the recently concluded G20 summit, where our honorable Prime Minister was in a trilateral meeting with United States of America, Japan, and India, and as the it was hailed as one of the most important democratic agreements that like the three important democracies meeting together in the Indo-Pacific region. But at the same day, we saw that our honorable Prime Minister attending a meeting with Russia and China, and it was also a trilateral meeting. And this can be concluded by as the famous news outlet, the Diplomat, saying that the Prime Minister was equally warm towards the autocrats as well as the Democrats. And now I would conclude by saying that we should not go far ahead into looking into. I would just conclude, ma'am, if you allow me the time, just 30 seconds. Thank you so much, ma'am. Like we do not have to look far away into these intricacies. We can look into the instinct that is the opposition in both the nations. Like in a democracy, opposition plays a very important role. But we saw that in the concluding elections in 2019 general elections in India, or the recent elections in United States of America, where Trump came into power, that they were all sweeping elections. But I would not say that democracy has totally declined, but there's a glimmer of hope as we have seen that Joe Biden has come into power, the Democrats have come into power. And in the recently concluded Bihar elections in India as well, opposition has performed very well, which was not seen in the recent years. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you, Ashwini. Now I would like to call next is Braham Sareen.
हेलो
Yes.
सो मेरी आवाज आ रही है?
Yes, you're audible.
ओके सो सबसे पहले तो मैं यहाँ पर बैठे सभी लोगों का धन्यवाद करना चाहूँगा एंड हमारी जज गरिमा मैम को भी मैं नमस्ते करना चाहूँगा। और सबसे पहले मैं बता दूं कि आज का जो बहसबाजी का हमारा मुद्दा है वो है प्रेजेंट सिनेरियो ऑफ इंडो यूएस डेमोक्रेसी। मैं कहना चाहूँगा कि बहुत लोगों ने यहाँ पर बात करी, लेकिन बहुत लोगों ने एक बात नहीं करी और वो थी कि हमारे देश के आंकड़े क्या हैं डेमोक्रेसी यानी कि लोकतंत्र को लेकर। सो हमारा देश जो है बहुत ही पुराना लोकतंत्र माना जाता है और हमारा देश जो है माना जाता है कि एक बहुत ही लार्जेस्ट डेमोक्रेसी यानी कि बहुत बड़ा लोकतंत्र है। इनफैक्ट वर्ल्ड के अंदर हम इसी नाम से जाने जाते हैं, डेमोक्रेसी यानी कि लोकतंत्र के मामले में। लेकिन एक चीज जो है हमें समझने की जरूरत है कि इतने टाइम से, इतने वक्त से हमारा लोकतंत्र किस तरीके से धीरे 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 खत्म होता जा रहा है। हम जो है वो वन पार्टी सिस्टम की तरफ जा रहे हैं, हमारा लोकतंत्र जो है वो धीरे धीरे खत्म होता जा रहा है। और उसके लिए मैं आपके सामने कुछ आंकड़े पेश करना चाहूंगा। सबसे पहला आंकड़ा है EIU का डेमोक्रेसी इंडेक्स। सो डेमोक्रेसी इंडेक्स ये कहता है कि इंडिया जो है वो पहले 41st पोजीशन पे था 2018 के हिसाब से, और अब 2019 के आंकड़ों के हिसाब से हम इस वक्त 51st पोजीशन पे हैं, यानी कि सीधा 10 रैंक जो है हम नीचे पहुंच चुके हैं। ऐसा इसलिए हुआ है क्योंकि उसमें ये स्टेटेड है दैट सिविल लिबर्टी का इरोजन हो रहा है। अगर आप देखो CAA NRC के प्रोटेस्ट को देख लेंगे आप, अगर आप देखेंगे 370 एब्रोगेशन, ह्यूमन राइट वायलेशन इन कश्मीर, ऐसे बहुत सारे मुद्दे हैं जिनको मिलाकर जो है ये आंकड़े लगाए गए हैं। इंडिया को गिरती डेमोक्रेसी के कैटेगरी में डाला गया है एंड इंडिया का स्कोर 6.90 है इस वक्त। पहले इंडिया का स्कोर इससे ज्यादा था और इंडिया जो है वो धीरे 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 नीचे की तरफ जा रहा है। एक और आंकड़ा मैं आपके सामने रखना चाहूंगा। NCRB की 2019 की रिपोर्ट ये कहती है कि 2019 के अंदर UAPA के चार्जेस पूरे 1226 चार्जेस UAPA के लगाए गए थे, जो कि 33% ज्यादा है 2016 के मुताबिक। एंड सेडिशन चार्जेस 93 लगाए गए थे, जो कि 165% ज्यादा है 2016 के मुताबिक। एंड ये सारी ऐसी चीजें हैं जो कि प्रोटेस्टर्स के ऊपर, जो कि जर्नलिस्ट के ऊपर, लेफ्ट विंग पॉलिटिशियंस के ऊपर एंड लेफ्ट विंग राइटर्स के ऊपर लगा दी जाती है जब वो सरकार को जो है क्रिटिसाइज करते हैं उनके अलग अलग बातों पे। फॉर एग्जांपल अभी किसान आंदोलन भी चल रहा है और किसान आंदोलन के बाद बहुत और भी दिक्कतें हैं। तो ये सारी चीजें जो है ये इंडिया की लोकतंत्र को नीचे लेकर जा रही है। दूसरी चीज मैं ये बोलना चाहूंगा दैट सेम चीज USA के अंदर भी हो रही है। अमेरिकी जो ताकत है डोनाल्ड ट्रम्प, उन्होंने अभी अभी अपने प्रोटेस्टर्स को जो है ये बोला दैट वो इलेक्शन को हारे ही नहीं है। उन्होंने अपने प्रोटेस्टर्स में वायलेंस इंसाइट करने की कोशिश की, कैपिटल बिल्डिंग जल गई, 4 लोग मारे गए, और ये दिखाता है कि लोग किस तरीके से वहां पर भी डेमोक्रेसी डिक्लाइन हो रही है। हमें ये समझना होगा दैट USA हमारे लिए एक सही उदाहरण नहीं है। USA हमारे लिए बिल्कुल भी एक सही उदाहरण नहीं है, क्योंकि इसलिए हम बोलते हैं कि USA हमारे लिए सही उदाहरण नहीं है क्योंकि USA जो भी करता है इस पेंडेमिक के अंदर, डोनाल्ड ट्रंप ने किस तरीके से इस चीज को मिस हैंडल करा है, उस चीज को देख के इंडिया के लोग यानी कि भारत के लोगों के अंदर भी एक ऐसी भावना आ गई है। वो सोचते हैं कि अगर USA इतने ज्यादा वर्ल्ड पावर होने के बावजूद गिरता जा रहा है तो इंडिया तो गिरेगा ही। इससे हमारा लोकतंत्र बर्बाद हो रहा है और लोग सरकार से क्वेश्चन नहीं पूछ पा रहे क्योंकि उन्हें लग रहा है कि ये तो सबके साथ हो रहा है, तो भारत ही क्यों अकेला है। तो इसी के साथ मैं अपना डिबेट खत्म करना चाहूंगा। धन्यवाद।
Thank you, Braham. Next, I would like to call Ashish Shukla.
Should I start?
Yes,
Hello?
Ashish.
Am I audible?
Yes, Ashish, you're audible.
Okay, so the topic of the debate is that the working of Indo-US democracy in the present scenario. Since it has not been stated whether it talks about the external relation or the inner working of democracy, I would like to talk about both the points. in the American democracy, we see that there has been a relatively free press, free media, and free society. However, there are in the compared to Indian society, the media has been relatively attacked, and even the prominent journalists like Rajiv Sardesai have been facing the charges of sedition. The second important point is that the commitment of executive judiciary have been away from the political establishment, and the educational establishment in the American society are organized basically on the merit. But in the cases of India, we see that the executives who try to do their duty, they face a problem of the politicians, and the education institutions in India are organized on the lines of religion, kin, clan. There has been, if I argue more about the inner working of a democracy in India, the law enforcement agencies have
Ashish,
discredited.
I am sorry, I'm stopping you in between. I request you to please look into the camera and speak.
Okay, the
Yeah.
executive relations have been the law enforcement agencies in the current scenario uh, actually cracked down on the protest of Shaheen Bagh and called it as anti-national. In the US also, the Wall Street protest, which was done by the youth and the women, was heavily cracked down. In India, we see that the demonetization of the Ayodhya, the Babri Masjid, there is the problem. They are in India. In India also, there is a section who feels that we are the Hindu and this is the country which we should rule, and more minority has no place. In American also, there are white supremacists which feels that that this is the land, this is our land, this is our temple, and this is our church. And we have the God-given right to rule, and the blacks have no right to rule. So, and the law enforcement agencies there crack down heavily on the blacks. And similarly, in India also, we have seen that the Muslims and the minority have been brutalized. So the inner workings have been, however, and moreover, one important point that the both the countries in the recent scenario have seen the rise of populism. The Donald Trump and Modi are the products of that. In a case of populism, their leaders come who takes on the whole of the country, and we see that they have both the similar working style. They have Donald Trump puts an embargo on the Muslim countries, and India also imposed laws like CA and NRC, which have been routinely characterized as anti-national. Uh, other and more other point I'd like to say that the Donald Trump planned an executive coup. So democracies are now bound to have faced executive coups. This similar kind of executive, the Capitol siege, which show that Donald Trump. There is one thing which I would like to compare it to Indira Gandhi. Indira Gandhi also planned a similar kind of executive coup, and it was more firmer. Because Indira Gandhi discarded the elections also, and it received the support of the bureaucracy also, but it could not receive the support of the mob. However, in
Ashish,
the
your time limit is exhausted.
okay, so I would like to end by the debate by saying that this is the Indo-US democracies in the current scenario have marked by the hard line protest and ghettoization of the minorities. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Ashish. Next, I would like to call Swati Salagna.
Am I audible? Hello?
Yes, Swati, you're audible.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
So, good afternoon, ma'am, Garima ma'am, present here, and addressing all other fellow delegates of the House. So, the topic given today is the present scenario of US and India democracy, right? So, when we focus on this topic, the first thing that comes to mind is that the democracy of US and India is completely different. If not completely, then at least some aspects of it is different, because in USA they practice federalism, and in India we have quasi federal democracy, so in which we have a very strong center, and that is the most basic thing that counts. So when we are addressing a unitary plus federal system, that is in India quasi federal, the thing that attaches importance it, the center has a power to control over the states. And because of that, many issues such as our delegates have already mentioned, the CAA protest or the NRC protest has exaggerated to the level that the civil affairs in the country have been disturbed, and that is correct. So taking USA as an example will not be fine, because their democracy system is different from ours. So rather than taking a country as an example, we should first take policies or the ideologies or the systems that we can follow in order to simplify issues in our own country. And now, if we see the present scenario of USA and India, as in aspects of the democracy system followed, so in USA and India, the relations have been well. Even in the Barack Obama's time or in the Trump's administration time, the relations have been well because the policies do match in some way or the other. But the issues that we are facing in our country are different, and we need to handle them differently as well. So, if we talk about how the democracy in USA, it was long ago pointed out by Montesquieu, who is a political scientist, that in a democracy there is much more needed to be done than in a monarchy. And for a democracy, that depends on the virtue of its citizens. Okay, so there is essentially the same requisite in both, but there is difference in the way that the states cannot get away from the soil, from the mine, or from the factory. So men are not content with the what is the basic problem in America these days is that we are seeing its material side. And what is that? Men are not content with the mere blessings of political liberty. They demand wealth wherewith to enjoy the blessings. So it is the administration of government in a democracy that tests its strength. So during the Trump administration, we saw that though it was the inability of the Trump administration to adjust the situations of COVID-19 in America was high, but we also saw that it did not impact that much in the relations between India and US because it has been maintained. So I would like to say that though there are issues between the countries and one country cannot be taken as an example to solve the issues in another particular country, but the relations can help in various ways. Maintaining the relations can help in various ways in handling such issues. For example,
Swati, you have exhausted your time limit. I'm sorry.
Yes, ma'am. I would just like to conclude that
Okay.
that seeing the maintenance of the relations between India and US, we can only hope that in future the Joe Biden administration also does the same, and we hope that the Chinese the China as a country is not pulled up that much to the level that it affects the whole world. And being a supporter of the India and US relations being maintained in these years. So I would like to say that it only needs a little bit of implementation of policies in our country in order to solve the issues of democracy, and also that we need to ensure that we maintain a healthy relationship with United States of America, because that will benefit our country. So with that would like to conclude. Thank you.
Thank you, Swati. I request the participants to please keep a track of chat box because the timekeeper sends the time limit in the chat box. Next, I would like to call Sonia Mishra.
Am I audible?
Yes, Sonia, you're audible. You can start.
Okay. Am I visible too?
Yes, you are.
Okay. Namaste to each and everyone present over here. The topic of the argument that I need to present today is the present scenario of Indo-US democracy. When I speak this, I might not talk about the fact that a president of the oldest democracy comes in India in the month of February 2020, speaks a lot about the eminent leaders of India, such as Swami Vivekananda. Very respectfully, he addresses the whole country, and within the next few days, the news comes that India has been called guilty. So, beginning the topic is the Indo-US democracy, wherein the talks, the debates, the arguments, the discussion has been the president of the oldest democracy versus the prime minister of the largest democracy. It not only affects two of these countries, but rather the world at large. From the time being of 6th January, the attack in the US Capitol And the same innovation was taken on the most important day of India, 26th January, the attack on Red Fort. I might not say attack, but the planning, the urgency, or whatever, the thoughts lurking behind these two democracies has been coincident a lot. Wherein there is a book called How Democracies Die by Daniel and Steve, where they say that democracies do not die within a day or a night, but rather democracies die slowly and steadily. There is always the government at the peak where we can see in America, there is either Democrats or Republics, Donald Trump, Joe Biden, whatsoever, whosoever. And in India, there is one of the party's leader as the prime minister, who's the minister of the cabinet. Here, what is happening is few of the pillars of democracy have to keep a check on the main pillar. That is, they are the referees. But when the packing of the referees begin, that this means the fact of the one of the strongest pillar is sending their men or their people in other pillars, such as in media, such as in judiciary, and in the administration as well. And both these scenario has been we are able to see in both the country, and thus the problem begins where the democracies begin to die. We might not be wrong by saying that the authoritarian government has showed us that we are somewhere lurking problematic over here, and China always takes the advantage. Abiding by the time and presenting the democracy, the feeble democracy, I would like to say, बर्बाद है गुलिस्तान करने को बस एक ही उल्लू काफी था अंजाम है गुलिस्तान क्या होगा हर दाल पे उल्लू बैठा है नमस्ते थैंक यू सो मच
Thank you, Swati. Next, I would like to call Mayuk Nandi.
Sonia, it was Sonia.
Sorry, thank you, Sonia. It was Mayuk Nandi. Next is Mayuk Nandi. Mayuk, can you hear me? Mayuk, am I audible to you? I guess he is facing some technical issue. I would like to call Akshita next.
Hello?
Yes, Akshita, you're audible and visible.
Hello, ma'am?
Yes, Akshita, you're audible and visible. You can start. Hello, Akshita? Mayuk, can you hear me? Okay, so I request Nishtha to please next. Hello?
Am I audible?
Yes, Nishtha, you're audible.
Is that okay as I have some net issues or can I
Yes,
put
yes,
my... Okay.
yes, you can switch off your cameras.
Okay, thank you so much and sorry for the inconvenience.
It's okay, you can start.
Yes, good afternoon to one and all present here. I am Nishtha and Nishtha Trivedi, and like today's topic is on the most controversial, according to me, it's a most controversial topic, that is US and Indian democracy. So firstly, if I talk about the Indian democracy, it is, according to me, it is the most best part of India, that it does not have a one party rule, wherein if we see in the USA we have a one party rule. Over here we have, like, we actually have the right to elect people and select those who are actually good or make good of us. Now moving on, like India and US, they have though they have conflicts also, and they have cooperation between them, but the major conflicts, according to me, is just because the
Nishtha, you're not audible. You're muted.
hello, am I
Yes, you're
audible
audible.
now?
Yes, you're audible now.
Okay. So, India and US basically highlights these aspects. There are those relationship is the that the India and US has the oldest and the largest democracy in the world. And there are actually 5 pillars, if I say, of the partnership between the India and USA. Those are of defense, security, economic, then global cooperation, like people to people ties and shared value. This is actually, he created a wide and a diverse set of constituencies is for the relation. This 5 pillars, if I talk about, then including there are different sectors and parts of this two democracy, which are maybe different from each other, but on at the like at the end they both meet up together. Then it has an ensured cross-partition support for US and India. Like if there is a need, there is a serious need basically. There is a serious needs by India or US. Both the countries help each other to like have sort that US down, that issue down. And these two countries are to be known as one of the most global cooperation like pillars that these two countries cooperate each other really well, or maybe blend with each other really well, though they have issues because of if I say because of China, as India and China has some disputes and issues between us. And okay, so can I just have 5 seconds more to just end up, if ma'am allows?
Yes, Nishtha, carry on. She said yes.
Okay, so in future the relation between US and India can be better and cannot be, and a reason would be China. That's all I want to say.
Okay, thank you, Nishtha. Next, I would like to call Akshita.
Hello, ma'am.
Yes, Akshita, you're audible.
Good morning to all. And ma'am, I'm very happy to join this group and this competition. We know that our topic is the present scenario on the Indo and US democracy. We know that democracy has been a key element of our values, which has also included a belief of
Akshita, you're not audible. Akshita, you're not audible. Akshita, Akshita, I guess your voice is breaking and you're not audible.
Hello.
Yes, Akshita, now you're audible, but you weren't audible before. Could you please start over again?
Okay, ma'am.
Okay, yeah. Could you please switch on your camera even?
Ma'am, here is network issue, ma'am.
Okay, then continue, please.
Good morning to all. We know that our topic is the present scenario on the Indo and US democracy. We know that democracy has been a key element of our values, which has also included the belief and the pursuit of rule of law. Biden and Trump hold the similar values on the similar and the security
Akshita, your voice is again blocked, I guess.
Go with my
Hello?
you can please continue.
Hello.
Akshita, you can speak later. Mr. Mayuk Nandi. Mr. Mayuk Nandi, can you please start?
Mayok, can you hear us? Mayok, can you hear us? If there is any network issue, please let us know in the chat box.
I think he's not. He's having some.
Yeah. Akshita, could you please check and continue if your network is stable?
I think we have to move ahead with the round 2.
Yeah.
I am remain for speaking. Ghanshyam this side.
Sorry, Ghanshyam. Ghanshyam, you can start your speech. We are sorry that you've left.
Okay, ma'am. Today's debate on US Indo democracy in current scenario. As I know that there are some good things in our and US democracy. First is that the Abraham Lincoln said that to the people, by the people, for the people elected the government. So this is the thing also applicable in India. And as we know that American government works by the president of USA and Indian also by Prime Minister of India. As we know that Indian democracy has a 4 pillar. First is judiciary, second is legislative, third is media, and fourth is bureaucracy, means administration also. So that when we are talking about the Indian US, there are two controversial things happened in India and USA. That first, the Abraham Lincoln's demise, killed by the people in a rational campaign was there, and in India, Indian partition was due to the religious base. Actually, this is the two things which were happened in back in 47. But today we are talking about the Indian American democracy. When we are talking about that, India and US both are mostly focused on defense and securities, economy, global situation, and people-to-people ties. And Indian democracy and US democracy has a differences, just like a freedom of speech. And we can see how they cooperate with the non-democratic country. This is also a thing we can see with the America and North Korea, and Indian, by the perspective of India, India also how deal with Iran. This is the thing which is most important. And fourth difference is that how they deal between national security and civil liberties. This is also a most important thing. And when I'm talking about the US and Indian cooperation and relation, when I think that US think that India is a very big market against China. India is rising here. That's why, for their interest, they are investing in India. And this is the only thing US getting a chance for India to go in a national United Nations security and nuclear group also. And at last, I just want to tell you that I just concluding, ma'am. I'm just concluding. Yeah. So India and US both are India is the largest democracy and US is the oldest democracy. And in this current scenario, we've seen two unfortunate things in between 1 month. First is Capitol Hill's attack, and second is 26 Jan on Red Fort. Whatever happened, we all see. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Kancham. And the participants, I would like to inform we are done with the round one. Some speakers haven't showed up due to some network issues. We would like to proceed to round two. The participants will get distributed in against and favor, and they have been given a topic beforehand by the organizers. Each speaker gets 3 minutes to speak, and I would again tell the rules. Participants are requested to please keep their videos on throughout event and mute their mics when they are not speaking. Participants are not allowed to refer to any sort of materials like papers, books, and materials, etc. Timekeeper will be informing about the time left in the chat box, so please keep a track of chat box when you are speaking. I would first like to call Ashish Shukla.
But I cannot start the video. The host has a
Hello,
problem.
hello. Garima ma'am wants to say something. Aditi.
Yes,
Yes. Just give me 1 minute, please.
sure, ma'am. Sure. Sure.
Before we start, just give me 1 minute.
Sure, ma'am.
Hello.
Yes, Ashish.
Okay, अभी start नहीं करना ना?
Wait, Garima ma'am will be back in a minute, then we'll start.
Another thing to add, once I like inform you if you have exhausted your time limit and you still want to add to the uh, speech that you're giving, please do so. Don't stop in between. All right.
Hello. I have one doubt.
Yes, Sonia, go ahead.
Yes, like as in the rules and regulations, the time limit has been 3 minutes. So
yes.
abiding by the time would be a plus point, and going above it will fed you some negative marks. Is it the case?
It will be completely at the discretion of judge.
Not at all an issue.
Thanks a lot.
Yes, Aditi, we can start now.
Thanks a lot, ma'am. I call Ashish to start his speech for the second round.
My topic of my debate is Indo-US Defense Agreement, and I have to speak against the argument. So I have to speak against the argument. And in the simple terms, I will say that there are 2-3 agreements which have been made between India and the US, like COMCASA and the BECA. I signify it for my friends. According to these agreements, India and US will have now important satellite data, high in military technology, and important weapon system which was highly reclassified by US will now be available to Indian military. But if we look at this argument in a very vague way, then it appears that, oh, we have got so much power, we have got so much satellite data, it is a great argument. But if we do look at into a deeper perspective, we see that it is a very problematic agreement. First thing, that US has a great cyber power, and now if America has an access to the Indian military, because now the command system will be settled in India, and which US can directly evade into the military software cyber cells of Indian military department and can access the highly critical data. Moreover, the second point is that we know that the US superpower, how great its cyber power is. It can, for example, if India is into war against the Pakistan, it can capture its missile data, and by using the cyber technology, it can offset the data of the path of the missile and if the missile has to fall in the Islamabad, it will fall in the Indian Ocean. The third important thing which I would like to say, that we all knew that even in, and this had happened in the case of Iran. There was a missile, there is some cyber attack which happened in Iran, and US was suspected to be against it. The another important point which I would like to state, that in if by focusing too much on US, we will have to disengage with China. Now China will suspect us more. We are focusing too much on the US and not on the neighbors. Atal Bihari Vajpayee once said that we cannot change our neighbors, so we have to be with them all the time. And most important thing is, Americans' policies are very fragile in nature. We should not forget how Americans have not helped us in the Bangladesh war. So, for example, what can happen is that after taking all the strategic data from the India, if a government change in America, for example, say hardliner, a supporter of Pakistan or China, come there. Now they have all our data. Now they will say we will stop the technology. So they all have all our data, but Indian military technology is not so supreme that it can get all the information from the US military systems. More, and the second important point which I would like to say, that if by engaging too much on the military issues with the US, we are not focusing on the, we are disengaging with Russia also. Now Russia has famously said that India, which were one of the favorite allies, now is siding with the America. So I don't think we should disengage with Russia, which have been our the supporter from the lifetime, from the very from the since the 1950s, 1960s. It was Russia from which we are getting our defense technologies. But if we are into too much with America, we will lose the support of Russia. We are losing the support of China. So, and over a period of time, this American will not give us this technologies with a free will. They will try, for example, in current scenario, the petrol prices are India in the rising. Why? Because America has put a sanction on the Iran, and now India cannot buy oil from the Iran at cheap rates. Why it is happening? Because America has said that if you do so, we will not give you this thing. So, for example, in the future, America can say, if you want our support system, now it will cripple our system. It will disengage our system, and it will make us too much dependent on America. And now we will not be independent in our foreign policy. A country cannot be independent if its military is controlled by a superpower, if another power. So it will say that if you are not going to, we will cripple your cyber attack. For example, America is so powerful with cyber technology, it can physically destroy the infrastructure. For example, if it gets too much in depth in the cyber system, it can, for example, destroy any Indian structure. It can launch any missile pad. You don't know the world of artificial technology from 10 years, 15 years. What technology American can have that? So, and in India, we know that 80% of
Ashish,
the.
I'm sorry, I'm stopping in between. You have already exceeded the time limit.
Okay, I have not listened to chat. Okay, last the point which I would like to say is that we are focusing on Atmanirbhar Bharat, and we are taking American help. This is against the principle of self-reliance. Thank you.
Thank you, Ashish. I would like to call next is Braham Sareen.
Hello.
Yes, Braham, you are audible and visible. Please start.
ओके सो मेरा जो मुद्दा है वो सेकंड राउंड के लिए है सिविल न्यूक्लियर मिलिट्री टेक्नोलॉजी. सो इसके मेरे को अगेंस्ट बोलना है. तो इसलिए सबसे पहले तो मैं ये कहना चाहता हूँ कि सिविल न्यूक्लियर टेक्नोलॉजी क्या होती है और वो मिलिट्री न्यूक्लियर टेक्नोलॉजी से अलग कैसे होती है. ये हमारा पहला मुद्दा है. तो सिविल न्यूक्लियर टेक्नोलॉजी जो है उसका मतलब होता है कि जो न्यूक्लियर वेपन्स हैं, हमारे सिविलियन इंडस्ट्री जो है, जो इंडस्ट्री सिविलियन चलाते हैं, वो न्यूक्लियर वेपन नहीं बनाते, लेकिन वो न्यूक्लियर वेपन्स को फैसिलिटेट करते हैं. वो भी इनडायरेक्टली डायरेक्टली फैसिलिटेट करते हैं, जो कि प्रोलिफरेशन को लीड करता है. ऑफ कोर्स जो हमारा 1967 का न्यूक्लियर नॉन प्रोलिफरेशन ट्रीटी हुआ था, वो एक तरीके से डिस्क्रिमिनेटिव था, लेकिन हम इस बारे में उसको सपोर्ट नहीं कर रहे. हम ये कह रहे हैं कि प्रोलिफरेशन यानी कि जो न्यूक्लियर वेपन्स का बनना है, उसका बनना जो है वो बिल्कुल भी सही नहीं है. क्योंकि जब आप सिविलियंस के हाथ में पावर देते हो कि वो अपने प्राइवेट न्यूक्लियर वेपन्स को होल्ड कर सके, वो बना सके उनको, तो उस तरीके से ये होता है दैट स्टेट के पास कहीं ना कहीं डायरेक्टली इनडायरेक्टली जो है वो न्यूक्लियर वेपन्स की पावर आती है, जिससे मिसअंडरस्टैंडिंग्स क्रिएट होती हैं दो स्टेट्स के बीच में, एंड इनफैक्ट उनकी इंटरनेशनल इमेज जो है वो भी खराब होती है. एक एग्जांपल जो है मैं देना चाहूंगा यहाँ पर इंटेलिजेंस रिपोर्ट 2007 के हिसाब से कहा गया था दैट तेहरान ने जो है अपने सिविल न्यूक्लियर मैटर्स को जो है वो चालू रखा था, लेकिन उन्होंने अपने जो मिलिट्री न्यूक्लियर मैटर्स हैं उनको बंद कर दिया था ईरान के सस्पिशन के ऊपर। तो ये एक चीज समझाती है दैट वो अपने जो है बैकएंड पे सिविल चीजों को तो जारी रख ही रहे थे, लेकिन अपनी मिलिट्री चीजों को वो जारी नहीं रखते थे। तो इससे हम ये कह सकते हैं कि जो सिविल है वो कहीं ना कहीं एक तरीके से फैसिलिटेट करता है हमारी स्टेट की न्यूक्लियर पावर को, एंड सिंस स्टेट की न्यूक्लियर पावर को फैसिलिटेशन मिलती है तो कहीं ना कहीं ये जो है ये कंट्रीज के बीच में मिसअंडरस्टैंडिंग क्रिएट करता है, इससे एक वॉर की सिचुएशन आ सकती है। एक एग्जांपल मैं देना चाहूंगा, जो वेपन्स ऑफ मास डिस्ट्रक्शन जो है वो इराक बना रहा था, उसके लिए जो है यूएस ने सस्पिशन हुआ एंड उन्होंने उनके ऊपर अटैक कर दिया। दो उनका जो है असली मकसद कुछ और था, लेकिन तब भी जो है उन्होंने इस चीज का फायदा उठाकर उस पर अटैक किया, जिससे हम ये कह सकते हैं कि कहीं ना कहीं जो सिविल न्यूक्लियर पावर है वो जो है वो इतनी आसानी से नहीं जो है होनी चाहिए है, क्योंकि वो जो है कहीं ना कहीं न्यूक्लियर पावर ऑफ द स्टेट को भी जो है इनडायरेक्टली डायरेक्टली पावरफुल बनाएगी। और इससे होगा ये कि कुछ फैक्टर्स हैं जिसको मैं यहाँ पर बताना चाहूंगा, जिन फैक्टर्स के बेसिस पे जो है किसी भी स्टेट की न्यूक्लियर टेक्नोलॉजी या पावर जो है वो इफेक्ट होती है। तो पहला फैक्टर तो ये होएगा कि वहाँ के मिलिट्री और पॉलिटिकल सिचुएशन क्या है। कभी कभी पॉलिटिकल इंटरेस्ट जो है वो इन चीजों को फैसिलिटेट करते हैं। दूसरा है कि वहाँ पर सप्लाई ऑफ फैसिलिटीज क्या है, वहाँ पर सप्लाई ऑफ मटेरियल्स क्या है, एंड कितनी अच्छी वहाँ की सिविल इंडस्ट्री है जो न्यूक्लियर पावर बना सकती है। तो हमें सबसे पहले समझना होगा कि प्रोलिफरेशन को रोकने का तरीका यह है कि हम अपने सिविल और मिलिट्री मैटर्स को ओवरलैप ना होने दें, एंड सिविल न्यूक्लियर टेक्नोलॉजी को अलग रखें एंड मिलिट्री न्यूक्लियर टेक्नोलॉजी को अलग रखें। इस चीज को जो है ये IEAE जो है उस वो भी जो है इस चीज को मॉनिटर कर रहा है। तो इसी के साथ मैं ये कहना चाहूंगा कि हमारे सिविल न्यूक्लियर टेक्नोलॉजी जो है वो हमारे मिलिट्री न्यूक्लियर टेक्नोलॉजी से अलग होना चाहिए। धन्यवाद।
Thank you, Braham. Next, I would like to call Swati Sulagna.
Is my video visible? Hello?
Yes, Swati, you're visible and audible.
Okay.
Yeah.
So my topic was for the second round, America's interest to see India as an Asia Pacific power. That was the topic for me. So I would like to talk about that. When we are seeing that whether America recognizes India as a leading power in the Asia Pacific region, it's absolutely true, because we have already seen that India is getting close to the United States of America in a wide variety of ways. India has been buying American military hardware in big ways as of late, and the United States has also been supporting India on the global stage on various issues like, for example, terrorism, or the membership in the Nuclear Suppliers Group, or the membership in the United Nations Security Council, and on other matters as well. So both India and the United States are robust democracies, and the US president and the Indian prime minister have clearly stuck up to a close relationship. So, however, the dominance of this Asia Pacific strategic narrative in US strategic thinking is now a bit of weakening. And why is that? It's because of the changes in the scenario inside India as well as in the United States of America. But that does not affect, because we have seen that during the Obama administration, he stated that India could be a leader in the Asia Pacific region. And it was because of the reason, because we are the largest democracy in the world right now. So Obama administration's description of India as an emerging power, not just it said would be in the South Asia, but throughout the Asia. So even some analysts say that this would sharpen the existing rivalry between India and China. But whatever will happen for the Asia's future, and will determine the Asia's future as well. So the one thing that I would like to say that we could hope for is to have a better Asia in future, because uh, it comprises of countries who can donate a lot to the world for its development. And I hope that the relations of India and US determines how the nature of Asia will be in future. Thank you.
Thank you, Swati. Next, I would like to call Japan Pandya to come next.
Am I audible?
Yes, Japan, you're audible and
Yes.
visible both. You can start.
My topic is on Indo-US Defense Cooperation Agreement, which I'm in the favor of it. Coming straight to the point, that defense relation has emerged a major pillar of India as well as US in the strategic partnership with the signing of a new framework for the India-US defense relations since 2005, and the resulting intensification of the defense trade, joining exercises, personal exchanges, collaboration, and the cooperation in maritime securities and counter piracy and exchange between each of the three services. So we can say that the defense framework agreement is the major pillar over here, and this defense framework agreement was updated and renewed for another 10 years in June 2005. Now coming to the different agreements, first is the LEMOA, which my colleague said, that the logistic exchange memorandum of agreement and was signed between India and US in August 2016. It allowed the military of each other's country to use the another's bases to access supplies, to spare parts, to services, to facilitate the land, the air bases and the ports to different countries. This means the relation. This makes the powerful relation between India and US, and this is extremely useful for the navy to navy cooperation. And it took almost a decade to negotiate LEMOA. Then it comes to the recently it is done that BECA. BECA is the Basic Exchange and Cooperation Agreement. Here it is largely pertain to the geospatial intelligence, which is the geo means the geographical area, and geographical intelligence this means, and sharing of information on the maps, the satellite images for the defense system. And in another way, anyone who sails a ship and flies and aircraft or flight wars or locate targets or response in natural disasters, it relies on the geospatial intelligence. By signing, BECA will allow India to use the US advanced the intelligence of geospatial and enhance the accuracy of the automated system and weapons.
Japan, thanks a lot. Your time is up. Next, I would like to call Ashwini to please come up and speak.
Am I audible?
Yes, you're audible and visible.
Okay,
Please
thank
start.
you. Good afternoon once again, ma'am. And the topic which I am for the motion is civil nuclear technology. So, ma'am, it is one of the major breakthroughs of Indo-US relationship. It arose due to the Indo-US nuclear deal in 2005. Like there are many advantages and merits of civil nuclear technology in both the regions. Like in the Indian context, if we see, the civil nuclear technology acts as a diplomatic countermeasure in the region. The technology has given de facto recognition to India as a nuclear power, and it is the only known country, because of the deal it has signed in 2005 with United States, to be a nuclear power, even though it is not a signatory to the non-proliferation treaty. And ma'am, civil nuclear technology is very important in the present scenario because we are heading towards a climatic destruction in the future, and it is a proven source of clean energy and a and a cheap source of energy. Like, and for this we can look at the example of United States of America, as it is a nuclear power, and it has shown the world the way that how nuclear power civil nuclear technology, hereinafter referred to as CNT, has benefited the nation altogether. Like, World Nuclear Organization predicts that in India in 2040 there would be a spontaneous rise which is of 156% in energy consumption. But India has been a proven and we have seen that it has been a importer of energy rather than an exporter of the energy. Thus, US can be seen like it makes 800 billion kilowatt of hours of energy using civil nuclear technology, and also exports that as well. And it has used civil nuclear technology to such a level that half of the energy which is produced in United States of America is produced through nuclear technology, civil nuclear technology, in fact. And also, in the front of jobs as well, civil nuclear technology industry in the United States of America is more than half of. Look into the Indian context, we can see that the problems such as unemployment, energy consumption, and also national security can be solved by civil nuclear technology as seeing the way ahead. And also, most importantly, is national security. Like we see that China is a superpower already. We won't accept that. But if we seek to counterbalance China in this region, India should invest in the civil nuclear technology so as to make it self-sufficient, which is the goal which was set by the Honorable Prime Minister recently. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thanks a lot, Ashwini. Next, I would like to call Nishtha.
Am I audible?
Yes, Nishtha, you're audible.
Okay, so my topic is America's interest to see India as an Asia Pacific power, and I'm speaking on the against. Basically, we all know that America is the first largest economy, has the first largest economy. Like it is like it has a relationship with China as well as India. I'm mainly focusing on the relation between these three countries, that is China, India, and America. So if we go ahead, that we all know that we have an issue, like India has an issue with China regarding terrorism, or maybe if we talk about anything else, be it geographically or be it financially or economically. But also the America has a really good relation with China, as the America supports China, like economically, as well as with many other, like supporting its
Nishtha, you are not audible. Hello, Nishtha, can you hear me? You're muted.
Yeah, now I'm audible.
Yes, you're audible. Please continue.
Okay, and now like we all know that the India is being recognized as a leading power. So if if USA get along with India or have a partnership with India to make it as a powerful country, the China would definitely interfere in it and would not allow India to do, because if that thing happens, then the power that is there would be a conflict created between the first largest economy and the second, that is China. Then America and China would get into a conflict, just because if USA gives India a power and most powerful country in the Asia, not only the South Asia part, but all over Asia. And as we know that like India has that potential, uh, USA also knows and China also that India has that potential to become the powerful country in the Asia. But still, if India becomes the powerful country, then China would definitely have to face the loss. Just due to this, and if America supports, so definitely the American and China's the relation would get like would get affected due to this, and which America would not let happen, and that is for sure. Yeah, and also the all the countries like China have the relation with, like, that is Vietnam or Japan or Indonesia, Singapore. They all would in
Nishta, you're again not audible.
hello, am I
Yes,
now?
you're audible. Yes.
It's okay, I would conclude as my time is up. So
Thank you, Nishta. Next, I would like to call Ghanshyam.
Yes, I'm audible.
Yes, Ghanshyam, you're audible.
Yes, ma'am. My topic is India-US military cooperation. I have to speak in against. So India-America military cooperation started in 1995, and still now it is working, and they are practicing their war practice in Malabar also. So I have to speak in against. So I think that US always has a hidden agenda in global scenario. In case of, we see that in case of Iran, in case of Philistine, so that as India, which is cooperate with America, we do not share our expertise with any country which has a hidden agenda on a global specifically. So the second thing is that I always saw that US viewpoint and Indian viewpoint in a global scenario, there are a lot of time which was mismatched, and due to which India and US saw the tension in case of cooperation in a military, US and American military cooperation. Third is that, as we saw that in Barack Obama's administration, when Barack Obama was in a government and Narendra Modi in 2014 elected as a prime minister, Indian relationship with US was very strong and going forward, but due to which there are a lot of friends like Russia, which was going for China also, but because they are thinking that India is going more and showing their more relationship with America and not looking to us. So this was also a bad thing for us to we always say our old friend are all old friend are better than new friend. So in this case we see, and when India started to purchase weapons from Russia, then US opposed us. This is also not a good thing in US-India military cooperation. And fourth point is that when we ask America for a fifth generation aircrafts, then they denied to make in India's program. In India, they told that you can get a fourth generation of uh, uh, aircraft from us. So this is not a signal of a India-US military cooperation. And fifth point is that US always think that India is an emerging country in North, in East Asia and West. I'm just concluding. So US always think that India is an emerging country in Asia. So that's America has an interest in India because India is only a country which can be a dominate on China. So there is also interest of the US.
Thanks, Ghanshyam. I would like to call Mayok Nandi. Are you there, Mayok?
Mayuk, we are sorry. This is the last call we are calling. Are you there? Okay, so we would like to proceed to Ms. Sonia Mishra. Sonia, could you please take up?
Just a second. Ma'am, as I spoke in English in the last round, will it be fine if I speak in Hindi for this round?
It would be at the discretion of the judge. Garima ma'am, would you allow? Yes.
नमस्ते। दूसरे राउंड का जो विषय हमें प्रस्तुत हुआ है, उस विषय का नाम है अमेरिका की रुचि भारतीय बाजार एवं भारत के अर्थशास्त्र में। और जी हाँ, बेशक है, इसीलिए हम इस विषय के पक्ष में अपनी आर्गुमेंट को, अपने विवाद को प्रस्तुत करना चाहते हैं। अब अपने सामने एक दृश्य को प्रस्तुत करिए जहां पर आप देखेंगे कि एक अक्यूट एंगल सा प्रस्तुत हो रहा है, एक आइसोसेलेस ट्रायंगल है जहां पे इंडिया और चाइना ऐसे एंगल बन रहे हैं और अमेरिका यहाँ पे बन रहा है। और हमेशा से देखा गया है हिस्ट्री में, इतिहास में, कि जब जब अमेरिका को जरूरत पड़ी है इंडिया की, कहीं ना कहीं से कुछ ना कुछ टैक्टिक लगा के इंडिया का पूर्णतः इस्तेमाल करने की कोशिश की गई। जैसे कि 2009 के साल में जब ओबामा जी चाइना से होकर आए थे, तब उन्होंने इंडिया को यूएन में, सिक्योरिटी काउंसिल में परमानेंट मेंबर बनाने की बहुत बहुत ही फर्मली एक उन्होंने पक्ष रखा था, बहुत ही मजबूत तरीके से। परंतु उसका कारण था कि इंडिया न्यूक्लियर का ट्रीटी साइन कर दे। और उसी के दौरान आज भी देखा जा सकता है कि कोरोना वायरस के समय में जो लत्ती पड़ी है अमेरिका को, जहां पे उनके पूरे बाजार की हालत पस्ता सी है और जहां पे भारत इंडिया का पूरे विश्व का फार्मेसी बनकर समक्ष सबके प्रस्तुत हो रहा है, उसी के समय हम अमेरिका की रुचि देख सकते हैं भारत। अब मेरे हिसाब से एक आर्गुमेंट आपके समक्ष में प्रस्तुत करना चाहूंगी। आधिपत्य यानी कि रूलिंग दो तरीके की हो सकती है, एक होती है पोजेशन की और होती है माइंड की। पोजेशन की यानी कि जिस तरीके की हमने फ्रीडम स्ट्रगल लड़ी थी, वो थी पोजेशन वाली आधिपत्य, रूलिंग, जिसको हमने लड़के ब्रिटिशर्स को यहाँ से हटा दिया। परंतु आज हो रहा है रूलिंग ऑफ माइंड। इसका कारण ये है कि भारत एक बहुत बड़ा बाजार है लोगों के लिए, निवेशकों के लिए, और उसी तरीके से अमेरिका के लिए भी, क्योंकि अगर उसे चाइना को काउंटर अटैक करना है तो उसको भारत की मदद लेनी ही पड़ेगी। अब भारत की मदद वो कैसे लेता है, वो अपना इंटरेस्ट कैसे दिखाता है, और ये भारत के लिए कैसे अच्छा है कि यदि चाइना से उसके कुछ कॉन्फ्लिक्ट हैं, और जैसे कि हम इतिहास में कई बार देखते आए हैं कि वे बोलते तो अच्छे से हैं, पर उनके जो अफेयर्स हैं, जो उनके टैक्सेशन ड्यूटीज हैं और बाकी जो सिक्योरिटी अफेयर्स हैं, उसमें हमेशा से प्रॉब्लमेटिक चीजें देखी गई हैं। और इसीलिए वो भारत के पास आता है, जहाँ पे स्टारबक्स जैसी कंपनी, फेसबुक जैसी कंपनी, मैकडोनल्ड्स, डोमिनोज और ऐसी कितनी ही कंपनी भारत में आके अपना निवेश करती हैं, और यहाँ पे अमेरिका की रुचि झलकती है। यहाँ पे ये इंडिया के लिए दो तरफियत से यदि देखा जाए कि जॉब्स क्रिएट होते हैं, परंतु भारत का पैसा अमेरिका से बाहर जाता है। अगर अब हमें यूएस का इंटरेस्ट जो हमारे बाजार में है उसको सही रूप में लाना है, तो उनको इम्पोर्ट नहीं एक्सपोर्ट में इंटरेस्ट दिखवाना है। एक्सपोर्ट करें हम यूएस को और हमारे टाइज को स्ट्रॉन्ग करें, ताकि पूरी दुनिया जो चाहती है कि इंडियन ओशन और जो पैसिफिक एशिया में भारत को केवल अपना गुलाम, एक रूलिंग ऑफ द माइंड के तरीके से गुलाम बना के रखा जाए, वे ना होने दिया जाए और उनके इंटरेस्ट को बरकरार रखा जाए। परंतु वो मिठाई जो बट रही है चाइना और अमेरिका के बीच में, इंडिया को छुट्टी से उसको खाना चाहिए, चाइना का भी साथ निभाना चाहिए, अमेरिका का भी साथ निभाना चाहिए। धन्यवाद, नमस्ते।
Thanks a lot, Sonia. So we are done with the second round. We are starting with the third round. The third round will be rebuttals. Our third round will be our question and answer round, that the participant will be asking the questions to each other and they will be free to ask questions to anybody. I would like to start with Ashwini.
Ma'am, actually, I have multiple questions for the multiple participants. So, ma'am, can I ask them at one go?
Yeah.
Okay.
Go
Ma'am,
ahead. Go ahead.
Okay, ma'am. Ma'am, first of all, I would like to question Mr. Japan Pandya. Like he said that he was talking about structure of governance, but our topic was the present scenario of Indo-US democracy. So, do you have any comments on that? And for the second round, he talked about Indo-US defense relation. But we have seen, as Garima ma'am would know, that there hasn't been a major strategic deal which is being signed by India, signed between India and the United States of America. So, what you have to say about that?
Can I speak?
Yes, go ahead, please.
So, firstly, when I discussed about the democracy, first, as per my view, uh, first it is important to know that what is the democracy of India as well as US. In so, as per me, it is like the parliamentary system and presidency in my mind. So I just got through it, so we can understand that how how a country how a country is being ruled, and how the people are being, like, we can say that like how they are ruling in their countries. So it is, for me, it is the basic thing that the system plays a major role into it, in the democracy. And in the second, as you said about the, can you repeat the second question, please?
Yeah, you talked about Indo-US defense relations are you have hailed them actually. So, but there is no strategic agreement which is signed between India or the United States of America in the recent times. As one of our colleagues has just said that they have denied the fifth generation aircrafts as well. So, what do you have to say on that?
Actually, there are total 3 agreements. I just first said about that
I'm talking about
it is
trade deals. Having agreements means nothing if you cannot do trade as per them.
okay. So, we can trade deals. Okay. uh, in trade deals, yes, there are trade deals, that is bilateral trades in the goods and services, right? There are in
I'm talking in
I don't,
context of Indo and US, not the conceptual.
no, Indo and US only. In I don't remember the year, but it was one, the bilateral trade between the India and US was $104 billion, and it was increased by 114 billion dollars.
Okay, thanks, Ashwini. I would like to take the next participant, Braham. And before that, I would like to announce it is a question answer round. So, Braham, you can ask questions to anybody freely.
Ma'am,
Okay,
I
go
actually
ahead.
I had to question many more participants. You said that you can ask as many questions.
Okay, let Braham ask the questions and we will get back to you later.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
Okay. So my first question is to Ashwini. As he was speaking for the motion of civil nuclear technology, and मेरा सवाल आपसे ये है that आपने जो फ्यूल की बात करी वो एक उसका प्रो हो सकता है, लेकिन आपने इस चीज़ की बात नहीं करी कि किस तरीके से हमें अपने सिविल न्यूक्लियर टेक्नोलॉजी और अपने मिलिट्री न्यूक्लियर टेक्नोलॉजी को ओवरलैप नहीं होने देना। ऑल्सो आपने ये भी बात नहीं करी कि किस तरीके से हमें अपने सिविल न्यूक्लियर टेक्नोलॉजी का सही तरीके से इस्तेमाल करना चाहिए, ताकि जो स्टेट की पावर है वो स्टेट तक रहे और जो हमारी स्टेट इंडस्ट्री है वो भी फ्लरिश करे साथ में। तो आप क्या कहना चाहते हैं इसके ऊपर?
See, first of all, there has been a conceptual disclarity about what you spoke. You spoke about civil nuclear military technology, but there is no term that exists like that.
I spoke
The
about
topic was civil nuclear
I
technology.
spoke about civil nuclear technology, but I differentiated in between the civil nuclear and the military nuclear.
Yeah. So if we go it through the Indo-US trade deal, which was signed in 2005, and thank you for supporting the cause. This the trade deal allowed India to separate between civil nuclear technology and military nuclear technology. And if we see in the world relations as well, the most of the sanctions which are imposed by the UN are on military technologies, but also these sanctions are imposed on those countries who are the parts of non-proliferation treaty. But as I said in when I was speaking, that India is the only known country which is not the part of NPA, but also has a very robust nuclear technology and armaments. And when talking about civil nuclear technology, it doesn't mean that civil nuclear technology that it is in the hands of the common people. Civil nuclear technology means that using nuclear technology to allow the people who are civilians for their own benefits. So my context was that, and there is no overlapping between military and civil nuclear technology. And if I ask anyone here, like what is the quantity of military nuclear arms that India holds, nobody can answer that. So it is very clear that there is no overlapping between military and civil nuclear armaments.
The International Atomic Energy Agency says that the proliferation of nuclear weapons would be enhanced if the private acquisition is promoted, that is, the civil nuclear technology is promoted. Now, there is a difference between civil nuclear technology and military nuclear technology, but what I am saying that indirectly or directly, the civil nuclear technology facilitates the materials that are being used in military nuclear technology. So that was my point.
Abraham, I would like to stop you in between.
Yeah.
Your time is up. I would like to tell the participants the time of rebuttal is 2 minutes. I'm sorry if there was any miscommunication, and the participants have to tell all the questions in one go, so that the opponents listen and respond to it. After 2 minutes time, after we complete rebuttal from all the participants, we will get back to you if you have any other questions. Am I getting clear?
Just one
Yes.
question, Aditi.
Yes, Sonia.
Suppose, for an example, see, like Ashwini asked a question to Jappan. Okay. Now, while asking the questions, the answer should be given at the same time, or when Jappan will start, matlab, Jappan will start questioning, then he has to give the answer to Ashwini and then start questioning.
No, I am like our point is just if Ashwani is asking, he can question in one go, then the participants can answer like they want. Am I clear?
Okay.
Thanks a lot.
Answering time limit is also 2 minutes.
Yes. It's requested for the other participants to please keep it in short. Then we will get back to you again.
Along with the question.
Hello.
Yes.
Along with the question. Answering along with the question.
Sorry. One at a time. I'm not able to hear. Yes, Sonia, say.
Yes, answering along with the questions. 2 minutes.
Yes,
Right?
answering along with the questions.
So, for example, if someone asks a question and we respond to it, so then one person will get a 2 minutes time to answer ask all the question, and the
Yes,
participants
Ashish.
will get 2 minutes to respond all the
No,
questions.
Ashish, in total, you will be getting 2 minutes. If it is not enough, after we are done with all the participants, we will get back to you.
Okay.
Okay, am I clear?
Okay.
Okay, so Ashish, you can go ahead with your questions.
My first question is to Ashwani. I have two questions with him. The first is from the first topic. The topic of the debate was the present scenario of Indo-US democracy. But in the many of the times he was focusing on the diplomatic or the foreign relation between the how Trump had mannered with Korea, or how India went with China, or what was the Cold War politics, and how. So, but the topic was democracy in the present scenario. It should be about how democracy inner working has functioned in both the countries, and how about the freedom index, about the minority, about the, and then a conclusion could have come up that how Indian and US would have behaved in a diplomatic way. But and the second question with him is that he said about that India should go with the civil nuclear plan. But we are seeing that after the Fukushima disaster, and the countries like Germany and Ireland, which have already, which are now focusing on the renewable energy, who already had used the civil nuclear power, they are discarding it. And we have incidents like the Bhopal disaster, and you cannot rule out that a bigger disaster can have if India generates a civil nuclear power at a greater rate. And the uranium which is used to produce the civil nuclear energy is taken from the Adivasi regions, and which is causing a havoc and pollution in their lives. And India has a great potential for renewable energy. Then why we should not invest in the renewable energy like solar power or the wind power, instead of focusing on energy which is being discarded all over the world now. And my third question is with Sonia, who said said that the foreign relations are अमेरिका को इन्होंने हिंदी में पूछा था तो इनसे हिंदी में पूछूंगा। उन्होंने कहा कि एक मिठाई खिलाई जा रही है और तो मैं उनसे ये पूछना चाहूंगा कि फॉरेन रिलेशंस कभी चैरिटी नहीं होती है। फॉरेन में इफ अमेरिका इज गिविंग अस समथिंग, अगर अमेरिका हमें कुछ दे रहा है तो जाहिर सी बात है वो कुछ हमसे एक्सपेक्ट करेगा, वो हमसे लेगा। तो आपको नहीं लगता कि ये हमारी अपनी कमी है कि हम अमेरिका से उतना हमारे डिप्लोमेट्स नहीं बार्गेन कर पाते, इंस्टेड कि अमेरिका जितना कर लेता है। प्लस अमेरिका के साथ जो हमारी अभी तक जो संधि रही है, उससे हमारे बहुत से इंजीनियर सिलिकॉन वैली में जाकर के अच्छा कमाते हैं और वहाँ से हमें वापस पैसे भेजते हैं, जो कि फॉरेन रेमिटेंस में एक अच्छा स्कोप देता है। जिसके बाद हम ये देखते हैं कि वो अमेरिका डायस्पोरा एक सॉफ्ट और इंडियन डायस्पोरा एक सॉफ्ट पावर प्रमोट कर रहा है अमेरिका में, और अब वहाँ पे एक हिंदू कल्चर, अमेरिकन कल्चर दोनों इंटरमिंगल कर रहे हैं। तो आप कैसे कह सकते हैं कि एक अमेरिका खाली एक मिठाई खिला रहा है और इंडिया कुछ उससे बेनिफिट नहीं कर पा रहा है?
May I answer?
Yeah, you can answer.
Yes, thank you, Ashish. See, the reason why I spoke about foreign relations, about US, India, because I was clear about the topic, and I did not talk about Indira Gandhi, that how she is relevant in the present scenarios. I talked about the relation of US as a chronological order, like how it had a democratic instinct and how it has declined throughout by giving the examples. And regarding the Indian context also, I guess you did not pay attention. At the end, I talked about the geopolitical scenario regarding the elections which happened, like the importance of opposition in the democracy. And regarding your second question, like Bhopal gas tragedy and the renewable energy. So I guess you should stop looking into the paper, or you can also go and Google that nuclear energy is a renewable source of energy, in fact. And Bhopal gas tragedy is way different than what you're talking about, nuclear disasters. And talking about that there may be a tragedy which could happen is like undermining the capacity of what Indians can achieve. So that's what I want to say. Thank you.
So can I rebuttal him or not?
Let the other participants answer your questions which you had put on them.
Okay, so may I answer? Just a second.
Yeah,
So
Sonia,
may
you can. You don't
I?
need
Yes, yes. Ashish, thank you so much for paying so much notice to my speech. But rather, the last point, you weren't able to get it what I was exactly speaking. The point of me speaking that America ek mithai khila raha hai, the next moment I spoke to China. Okay, so there is a conflict, there is a supremacy conflict between them, and my point was to keep ties with both the country in a good way, so that India doesn't fall into the trap of any of the other countries. Rather, I do not think, in any way, I do not think that international trade is any sort of charity, because trade itself is a dual transaction trade, okay? And I have that much conscience. So my problem and my point was to focus on the point that America and the China thing, जैसे कि दो बंदर की लड़ाई में, the Billy here, the India, but India should not fall in trap of these both supremacy. Otherwise, there wasn't a point of me mentioning that trade is any sort of charity. So yeah, that was my answer to the question.
So moving ahead, I would like to ask Swati to please put forward the questions.
Ma'am, I have no such questions for anyone, so I'll just pass it on.
Ma'am, can I take her time then?
Japan?
Ashwini, we will get back to you once we are done.
Sure, ma'am.
Yeah. Sonia, are you prepared with your questions? Please put forward for the rebuttal round.
Yes. So my question is to Ashish first for the first topic. As he questioned Ashwini regarding why was he focusing on the foreign relations and not talking about the democracy. But I have a question for you: that what is the point of talking about each another's democracy, but not talking about the foreign relations or the foreign matters? Because at the end, the motive of the topic, in fact, was to discuss about the foreign relations and the standing of both these countries in the world. And I saw that you were very negative regarding this, and you nowhere told about the ties and the relations of these both countries on the diaspora, on the global level, and as to what globalization and other effects are being focused or being broken by these two countries' ties. You were just talking about the democracy and the differentiation. So please, I would like to request you to throw a little light on this topic. And my other question is to Japan, that the topic was very straightforward of yours, but you were trying to twist and turn around. And I was not able to get the point that your topic has to be given justice. So you can throw light upon it. And Ashwini, here, when you speak about the civil nuclear technology, okay, you tried to confess and you tried to propound your speech around the topic of how is the differentiation between the civil one and the defense one, and you even questioned the conscience of the people over here that we would not be able to give the answer to the question that how many arms and ammunitions is Indian Army holding, as it is a matter of national security. We cannot answer as well. So please throw light upon it. So yes, Aditi, these were my questions, and I hope that I abide by the time. Thank you so much. Namaste.
Yeah. So,
Ma'am, may I answer?
yeah. You can answer. You don't need to ask me. Just answer.
Okay. So ma'am, Sonia ma'am, actually, ma'am, the topic was civil nuclear technology, in fact, but there was a confusion created regarding that it is a civil nuclear military technology. So ma'am, I mean, if you can look it up, it is there in that group. So ma'am, what I wanted to imply was that regarding the military thing, that a question was asked that there are chances that military and civil nuclear technology can overlap. So my basic contention regarding asking that how many nuclear armaments does our country holds was like, we have been able to protect that information and protect the military information to such a level that we do not even know how many arms does our country hold. And it is a good thing, because it, as you said, that it is a matter of national security. So that was my point. And I wanted to stick to the topic, as this is what we do in the debates, that we have to stick to the topic. So that's why I do not see if there was any fault at my end.
Sonia, all your questions are answered, I guess.
Yeah, Aditi, I will not like to ask him, otherwise it will go ahead of time. So let's give
Yeah, we will get back to you and then you can ask. Nishtha, please go ahead with your questions.
Am I audible now?
Yes, Nishtha, you are. Please go ahead.
Yes. So my question is to Swati ma'am. So basically, I want to ask her that don't you think that if India becomes a powerful country in the Asia, or maybe gets power with the help of America, then that would be that the conflict would create between the US and India, US and China. Sorry.
Nishtha, you are muted.
Could you please repeat your question?
Nishtha, you are muted.
Yeah, sure. Am I audible now?
Yes, you are. Go ahead.
So I just want to know that if like India becomes gets that power with the help of US, as the topic suggests. So if the India gets powers
audible.
Can I write my question into the chat? Is that okay?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead. So, till Nishtha, write your question in the chat box. I would like Ghanshyam to please go ahead with his questions.
Ma'am, I'm audible. Hello.
Yes, Ghanshyam, you're audible. Go ahead, please.
Okay. मेरा क्वेश्चन है सोनिया मैम से है कि जैसा कि उन्होंने कहा था कि भारत को अमेरिका और चाइना दोनों के साथ साथ एक जैसे संबंध बनाने चाहिए, चाइना के साथ भी बनाने चाहिए। तो मेरा क्वेश्चन ये है कि आज की जो करंट सिचुएशन है चाइना के साथ, जहां पर अपना आर्मी स्टैंड ऑफ है और गलवान घाटी हुआ जहां पर अपने बहुत सारे जवान मारे गए और 1962 सबों को याद है, तो ऐसी कंडीशन में जब हम चाइना के साथ फिर से अपने रिलेशनशिप बनाना चाहते हैं, तो क्या गारंटी है कि चाइना हमको बेटर रिस्पॉन्स देगा, बेटर देन यूएसए? थैंक यू।
Shall I answer your question? हाँ जी, तो ज्ञानश्याम जी, एक्चुअली जो आपका पॉइंट है वो बिल्कुल ही सही है। आप डिफेंस के तौर पे कह रहे हैं, और जो मेरा प्रेजेंटेशन था वो इस तरीके का था कि मैं ट्रेड के रिलेशन में और इकोनॉमी और मार्केट के रिलेशन में कह रही थी। रादर डिफेंस के रिलेशन में अगर कहने को जाए तो एक बहुत ही अलग से डिबेट हो सकती है, और एक पूरा पूरा एक प्रोग्राम रचा जा सकता है उसके ऊपर। तो बिल्कुल आपके क्वेश्चन को रिस्पेक्ट देते हुए और आपके जो डाउट है उसको क्लियर करते हुए कि जो मेरा स्टैंड ऑफ था, जो मेरा टॉपिक दिया गया था वो ट्रेड रिलेटेड था, सो माय स्टैंड ऑफ एंड माय पॉइंट वाज रिगार्डिंग ट्रेड and not national security. I totally agree to your point of national security, but as it is not related to the current debate and the program, so I would not like to answer this question. Rather, we'll skip this to give chance to another party.
Okay, so Nishtha's question is to Swati. Don't you think if India gets power with the help of US, then there would be a conflict between US and China? Swati, please take this question.
See, when we talk about international relations, conflictual issues are always there, because you cannot have an ideal world of democracy or any other political system. So if we assume things that if we get the power we'll get conflictual issues with a particular country, then we will never be able to achieve what we actually want for the development of our nation. Secondly, you are saying that the conflict between USA and China will arise. It is already started, and let me tell you about the things that during the Trump's administration, certain policies of the USA that were taken up, it directly or indirectly hindered the China's top officials, or the China as a country as a whole. So it is not about it will be started, it is already started. And in international relations, the conflicts or the wars or the issues are common, and for that only, to maintain peace only, we are taking up policies, or we are reforming our foreign affairs and policies. So with that.
Sonia, do you have any questions for the participants?
No, Aditi, not that.
Ashwini?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, please go ahead. Ashwini, you are muted. Sorry, you're muted.
I was asking that how much time do I have? I guess it is 17 minutes which are left. So, ma'am, can I take at least 5?
You can just put forward your questions and let other answer it.
Definitely, ma'am.
Yeah, go ahead.
Ma'am, my question to Sonia Mishra, ma'am, that ma'am, she was in the favor of motion regarding the trade, but she said that US uses India, so she somehow countered her own argument. And regarding she said that we should incline towards China, but India is a socialist democracy as per the constitution, and we are seeing the cons of capitalism. So how can you say that India would benefit from even with US or with China? And the next question is to Ashish Shukla, sir, that where were Indo-US relations in your speech? And you said that you disregarded populism, but basically populism means that election of a popular government, and which is the essence of the democracy. And you said you were talking about Indo-US agreement in your second round, but you bring in Russia into the Indo-US agreement. So how can you justify that? And my next question is for Ghanshyam sir, that where was democracy in whatever you said? And you only spoke about India-US relationship with regards to defense and all, but you never spoke about anything regarding democracy. And in the second round, and there's a common saying that if you cannot prove something with fact, it is all known as fake news. So you said that there is some hidden agenda, which is just an innuendo. So can you prove it by any fact that India that US has a hidden agenda against India, and that you are saying that Russia is and that we should go towards Russia, and that we are making Russia sad or something like that. But do you think that Russia and China both are communist regimes? So Russia would always support China against India. So how can you say that Russia will be a better friend of India rather than China? That's all now.
So Ashwini sir, I would like to answer to your question regarding as to India is a socialist country. We should not forget the fact that during the emergency, the word socialist was included in our constitution. And yes, it is a part of our country. And in no way I mean that America is using in trade, because my topic was only regarding economy and the market. And here I was telling that we should not let America use us by exporting the goods. Rather, we should also induce the fact of importing Indian goods to America. Let us induce Rajasthan ki karigari to America, the Surati kapda to America, the Patola saris to America, and the horticulture advancements to America, and then have a good interest and trade relations and the economy. In no way I means here also that we should be inclined towards China. We should be inclined towards China in a very diplomatic way to get the trade deals from other countries. Because when people were moving away from China because of its government policies, the companies chose Taiwan, the companies chose Singapore and other Asian countries, but only 3 companies came to India. So here I would like to say that maintaining a good relation with China, we should take the advantage of whatever or whichever company is moving from China so that we can get the deals from them. And in America's respect, I hope I gave you the answer. So yes, this was my take on his question.
So any other participant has question for anybody?
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
I
मेरे
have.
को
asked 2 more
I
questions.
have.
One second, one
And
second.
I have to answer also, I think.
Ashish, go ahead.
So will I ask or first I answer?
Like whatever you like, just ask question or answer.
Okay, so first I will like to answer Ashwani's question. Ashwani, can you please repeat the question?
Yeah, just only if you don't look at the paper. Just kidding. Like how
I don't
Indo.
look at the paper. I am
Okay.
currently noting down the questions only, which you guys are asking.
No. It's okay. How I just the topic of the debate was Indo-US relations in the present scenario of Indo-US democracy. So, but where was democracy in your topic? I mean, your whole topic was wavered actually, and you said and how Indira Gandhi and her regime is relevant to the present scenario now.
Okay. And one एक किसी और ने पूछा था डेमोक्रेसी फॉरेन रिलेशंस पे, वो कौन था? Can you please name? Someone asked me on the.
It was Sonia ma'am, and that was a valid question as well.
No, I am just asking the name.
That was Sonia
So,
ma'am.
okay. So I will answer both the questions in one go. First thing that someone, Sonia ma'am asked me that why you did not talk about democracy in foreign relations and at the global level, and you are asking the same thing. Let me again specify the topic. The topic is Indo-US democracy in present scenario. It does not, the topic is not Indo-US democracy in emerging order or Indo-US democracy in the changing order. It not talks about the whole world. It is restricted to India and US. The two things, the first topic. I would have gone on talking about the foreign relations, how India is having it with China or all, but this was not the topic. If someone has taken the topic in that scenario, that is his or her fault. And the second thing which Sonia ma'am said that I appears negative and all. So ma'am, I would like to say if truth appears negative to you, then it is not my fault. Truth is a bitter medicine, but it needs to be digested. You are saying I did not talk about the positive things, but ma'am, can you feel that if my education budget is threatened in democracy is by the people, for the people, of the people. So my first right is to gain something from the government. If my health budget is threatened, education is threatened, we are going in hunger index below the Pakistan. What will I do if Indian power is doing something in the Silicon Valley, or India is, or the Prime Minister is giving a speak at the Medicine Square, or he is calling the Vivekanand. If I am not getting the basic necessities, basic facilities, the farmer agitation in Delhi is happening. So I will assert my rights first. Then I will only think about the bigger thing. This is a democracy. This is the basic thing. So, and the second, okay. So I think I have answered the question. Now I will ask the questions. Okay. Can I ask?
Sorry, sir, we are.
Ashish, just let these questions be answered because we are done with the.
No, but I have
debate now.
answered the questions. I have not asked the. I have answered the questions.
Ashish,
No, you have asked earlier questions.
Yeah, you have
Yeah.
asked the questions
Ashish,
earlier.
Ashish.
Ashish,
Ashish has asked questions already.
Ashish, just wind up. I will say.
Okay, the one question is to Ashwani, that Ashwani said that nuclear energy is non-renewable, but let me tell you, the products which make a renewable energy are non-renewable. For example,
I said
uranium.
renewable.
No,
Don't put
sorry,
your
you
words
said
in my
nuclear
mouth.
energy is renewable, but it is not. If you do a deeper analysis, it will take you that uranium which is used is a non-renewable product. So it is not a renewable energy. And second thing is, you did not answer this question, that why the countries like Germany and Japan, which are having this power, they are discarding it. Why you did not talk about the problems, how to solve the problem of Adivasi region from where uranium has extracted it. You did not answer these questions. And let me tell you about the Indira Gandhi. I talked about Indira Gandhi, but my time was up. I wanted to connect it to the Modi. Actually, I wanted to say that the Indira Gandhi planned a better coup than Trump. What Trump did, it could not mobilize the institution and bureaucracy. But Indira Gandhi could mobilize that institution and bureaucracy also. And in the current scenario, I want to link it to the Modi government. Modi government has a better hold over the mob, institutions, and bureaucracy. So there is a time, there can be a better coup also than the Trump. So we should be vigilant. I wanted to
Yeah,
state that.
yeah, right, yeah.
Okay.
So thank you, everyone. I would like Gareth. I would like to.
Ashwini.
Sorry.
This is Ghanshyam. I want to reply for Ashwini. Ashwini ने question किया था, उसको reply करना.
After the remarks, at the end, you all can debate. We will be waiting.
Yeah, please.
Judge has to leave. So Garima ma'am has to leave somewhere. So we are just concluding.
Yeah. So I would like to ask Garima ma'am to please give her valuable remarks. Ma'am, you are not audible. No, ma'am, you're not audible.
No, ma'am, audible. Hello?
Yes, ma'am, you're audible now.
Yes, ma'am, you're audible now. Thank you so much, Aditi, and to all the participants, to Just Corpus, to Just All Dialogue. I think it was a wonderful debate competition session, and every one of you spoke eloquently and with great points, and you have justified your points, whether it is in favor or against, very honestly. And let's see what the result says. But congratulations to everyone. This shows your confidence, your ability to speak, your public speaking skills. And I would like to congratulate every one of you, and keep participating and keep exploring your hidden skills, and all the very best. Thank you so much.
I would like to thank Garima ma'am for sparing time for us from such a busy schedule. On behalf of Legally Fire team, I would like to thank Garima ma'am, our participants, for participating so interested and having an interesting debate. And I would like to thank Garima ma'am who spared her time. Thanks a lot, ma'am. And information about the results. I would like to inform the participants that the results will be out soon in our website, Legally5, and in our social media account handles. So keep checking it. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you, Garima ma'am.
I request Garima ma'am and all the participants to please switch on their camera so that we can have a picture.
Thanks everyone for the picture.
Thank you, everyone, for participating and being so patient. Thanks a lot. Thank you, Garima ma'am. Thanks a lot.
Shall we leave now?
Yeah, you can leave, Rahul.
Okay.
So you want to discuss something, you can.
Yeah, you can stay back if you need to discuss something. Thanks a lot.